Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, we'll read from the Chaitanya Bhagavata, Adi-Khanda, chapter 16, and it is entitled Description of Sri Haridasa's Glories, Namacharya of the Holy Name. Glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Glory, glory to Lord Chaitanya, the friend of the fallen. Glory to Lord Chaitanya, who's the beloved of Goddess Lakshmi and the master of all. Glory, glory to the Lord, who descended to this world to rescue his devotees. Glory, glory to the Lord, who is eternal, always existing, all phases of time, and who enjoys pastimes of Sankirtan. Glory, glory to Lord Chaitanya, who stays with his devotees. Simply by hearing these descriptions of Lord Chaitanya, one attains pure devotional service. The words of this Adi-Khanda, which describe Lord Chaitanya, completely enchanting pastimes, are a stream of very sweet nectar. In this way, the king of Vaikuntha became a Grihastha Brahmin and enjoyed pastimes of study in Navadvip. The Lord did not yet wish to preach pure devotional service. Preaching that was the reason for his descent to this world. No one was interested in spiritual life. Everyone thought the taste of petty material pleasures was most important. The teachers who lectured on Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam neither understood the glories of Lord Krishna nor described his glories in their lectures. The devotees would meet, clap their hands, and chant the holy names of Lord Krishna. Mocking them, the other people would ask, "Why do you howl so loudly? I am Brahmin. I am untouched by matter. Why make distinctions of master and servant?" The materialists would say, "They howl, Hari, only so they can have a pretext to beg and eat. Everyone knows that." The people of Nadi assembled and decided, "We'll break down the doors of these fools' houses and throw everything here and there." Hearing this, the devotees became very unhappy. They did not know to whom they could complain. Seeing the entire material world is an empty desert, the devotees called out, "Oh Krishna!" Their unhappiness had no end. At that time, Haridas, who was the personification of pure devotion to Lord Vishnu, came there. Whoever hears the story of Haridas Thakur will certainly attain Lord Krishna. Haridas descended to this world in the village of Budana. Because of him, the chanting of the Lord's holy names was manifested in that fortunate place. For some days he stayed at the Ganga's bank. Then he went to Pulyagram in Shantipur. Attaining his association, Advaitacharya roared with happiness. His bliss had no end. In Advaitacharya's association, Haridas floated on the waves of the nectar ocean of Lord Krishna's glories. Haridas would wander on the Ganga's bank and happily chant Krishna in a loud voice. He was the best of those who had renounced material pleasures. His glorious mouth was always filled with the sound of Lord Krishna's name. Not for a moment did he stop chanting Lord Krishna's name. At every moment, plunged in the nectar of devotional service, he seemed to show different forms. One moment he would dance, another moment he would roar like a wild lion, another moment he would scream, another moment he would laugh loudly, another moment he would bellow, another moment he would fall down unconscious, another moment he would make unearthly sounds, another moment he would explain the meaning of those sounds. He wept. The hairs of his body stood erect. He laughed. fainted, perspired. These symptoms of ecstatic devotional service to Lord Krishna were manifest on him. When Haridas began to dance, all these ecstatic symptoms met together in his body. Then a flooding stream of bliss flowed in his every limb. Gazing at him, the offenders became very happy. The hairs on his wonderful body would stand erect. Gazing at him, Brahman Shiva became filled with bliss. Gazing at him, the Brahmins of Puliagram also became overwhelmed with bliss. Faith in Haridas was born in everyone. In this way, Haridas lived in Puliagram. After bathing in the Ganga, he would wander everywhere, always loudly chanting the holy names of Lord Hari. Meanwhile, the Qazi, the governor, went to the king of that country and described Haridas. He said, "Although he's a Muslim, he acts like a Hindu. You should bring him here and pass judgment on him." Hearing the sinful Qazi's words, the sinful king had Haridas brought at once. By Lord Krishna's mercy, saintly Haridas was not afraid of the Muslim king. Saying, "Krishna, Krishna," as he walked to the king of the country, he gave the right to see him. Hearing this, Haridas Thakur had come. The pious persons both became happy and sad. Many very pious and saintly people were confined in the prison. Hearing that Haridas was coming, they became happy at heart. They said, "Saintly Haridas, a great Vaishnava, when we see him, all the sufferings of our prison life will be destroyed." After begging the guards with sweet words, with a single pair of eyes, the prisoners gazed at Haridas. When he came there, with a glance of mercy, Haridas looked at all the prisoners. Seeing Haridas Thakur's feet, everyone bowed down to offer respect. Haridas' eyes were lotus flower. His face was a moon. His arms reached to his knees. His every feature was charming and handsome. No one was like him. Devotedly bowing down before Haridas, the prisoners manifested all the symptoms of ecstatic love for Lord Krishna, Sattvika Bhav. Seeing the advanced devotional service of the prisoners, Haridas mercifully smiled at them. Smiling, he happily spoke this hidden benediction: "Stay, stay as you are. May you always be as you are now." Not understanding the hidden meaning of these words, the prisoners became a little unhappy at heart. Then Haridas mercifully explained the true meaning of that hidden benediction. He said, "I've given you a blessing, but not understanding its meaning, you're now unhappy. I did not give you a bad benediction. Please give this some thought and try to understand it. Now your hearts are attached to Lord Krishna. Please remain like that at every moment. Always gather together. Chant Krishna's names. Remember Krishna. Remain like this at every moment. Never hurt anyone. Never trouble anyone. Instead, always think of Krishna and always in a plaintive voice call out Krishna. Forget about material pleasures. Flee the company of wicked men. If you stay with material pleasures, you will not attain love for Lord Krishna. Stay far away from materialists. Always think of Lord Krishna." A heart attached to sense pleasures brings only trouble. Sense pleasures are a trap that catches men and women. Sense pleasures lead to destruction. By divine arrangement, a fortunate person attains the association of sincere devotees. He turns from material sense pleasure and worships Lord Krishna. However, if one commits offenses, he will return to materialistic life. Please hear about this. The benediction that I spoke did not mean, "May you remain prisoners." Rather, day and night, I gave the benediction, "May you forget material sense pleasures." Playing with words, I actually gave that benediction. Please do not feel even a half sesame's worth of unhappiness. I place a glance of mercy on all spirit souls. May you attain firm devotion to Lord Krishna is the real benediction I give to you. And please don't worry. In 2 or 3 days you'll be released from prison. I tell you. Stay in a situation of material happiness, or stay in any situation, but do not forget these truths. After giving these auspicious teachings to the prisoners, Haridas went before the king. Seeing his very charming splendor, the king very respectfully offered Haridas a seat. The king asked him, "Oh, my brother, what has happened to you? What is the change that I see that has come to your mind? How fortunate you were! Look, you are a Muslim. Why then have you given your heart to act like a Hindu? If I see a Hindu's face, I will not eat. You were born in a great family, now you reject it. How will a person who rejects the religion of his own people and accepts another religion attain salvation and go to paradise? Not considering all this, you've acted very badly. Now I will pronounce a judgment that will free you of your sin." Hearing these words of a person bewildered by Maya, Haridas laughed loudly and said, "Aha! The Maya of Lord Vishnu." Then he sweetly smiled. "O son, please listen. There's only one God for everyone. The Hindus and Muslims are different in many ways. Still, the truth is that the Quran and the Puranas describe the same one God. The one God is pure, eternal, undivided, unchanging, perfect and complete. He lives in everyone's heart. As God gives them the idea, so everyone in the world acts. Following their own scriptures, all the people of the world speak of God's names and qualities. God knows everyone's nature. Anyone who attacks others attacks God himself. I follow whatever orders God has given in my heart. Among the Hindus, a Brahmin may, by God's desire, become a Muslim. The punishment of the Hindus would give to that Brahmin in the punishment you should give to me. O honorable one, please listen, consider all this. Then, if I am at fault, punish me." Hearing Haridas Thakur's very truthful words, all the Muslims became pleased. Then the sinful Qazi said to the king, "Punish him. He's wicked. He'll make others wicked also. He'll dishonor the Muslims. If he thinks it is not good that he be punished, then let him speak with his mouth the words of his own scripture." Again the king said, "O brother, speak from your own scripture, then you have nothing to fear. If you act otherwise, then the Qazis will punish you. Please tell me, why do you take this all so lightly?" Haridas said, "What God will certainly happen. What God wills will certainly happen. No one has the power to make it otherwise. Everyone reaps the fruit of his offenses. It is God who is doing all this. Please know that. If my body's cut to pieces and my life breath flees, I will never make the holy name of the Lord Hari leave my mouth." Hearing these words, the king asked, "What should I do with this animal?" The Qazi said, "Take him to 22 marketplaces and beat him. Then he'll die. I give no other judgment. If after being beaten in 22 marketplaces he's still alive, I will accept he's a wise man and has spoken the truth." Calling for soldiers, he hatefully said, "Beat him till his life is no more." A Muslim who becomes a Hindu is freed from his sin only by death. When the sinful Qazi had spoken this way, the sinful king gave the order. Wicked men came and grabbed Haridas. The wicked men took him to marketplace after marketplace. With great anger in their hearts, they beat him and made him lifeless. Krishna, Krishna, Haridas thought. Because of the bliss brought about by the holy name, the sufferings of his body were not manifest. Seeing the great beating inflicted on Haridas' body, all the pious people felt limitless sorrow. Someone said, "Because a saintly person is beaten like this, the whole country will be destroyed." With anger in his heart, someone cursed the king and his prime minister. Someone else tried to fight the soldiers. Someone approached the Muslims, grabbed their feet and begged, "I will give you anything. Please stop this beating." In spite of all this, no mercy was born in those sinners. With great anger in their hearts, they beat Haridas again and again. By Lord Krishna's mercy, not a single one of those blows gave birth to even the slightest pain in Haridas' body. Prahlad did not feel the slightest pain when the demons beat him. This all the scriptures say. The same way Haridas did not feel the slightest pain when the Muslims beat him. By remembering Haridas Thakur, one cuts his sufferings into pieces. That is the story of Haridas Thakur. When the sinners beat him, Haridas felt only one pain within his heart. He thought, "O Lord Krishna, please be merciful to these souls. Let not their hatred of me be counted as an offense." In this way, the sinners beat Haridas Thakur in town after town. Although he was beaten very badly, Haridas' life breath remained. Haridas was not aware of the beating. The Muslims were astonished. One of them thought, "Will his life breath leave? Will he die? Anyone else would have died after beatings in 2 or 3 marketplaces. We've beaten him in 22 marketplaces. Still he doesn't die. From moment to moment he looks at us and smiles." Another one thought, "Is he a human being or a great saint?" This they thought within their hearts. And the Muslims said, "O Haridas, because of you we will all die. In spite of our beating you, your life breath did not leave. Now the Qazi will take our life breath from us." Smiling, saintly Haridas said, "If my being alive brings you trouble, then I'll die. You watch how I do it." After speaking these words, he entered into a trance of meditation. Haridas had all powers. He became motionless. He did not breathe at all. Seeing this, the Muslims became astonished. They carried him and threw him at the king's doorstep. "Place his body in the earth," the king said. The Qazi said, "Then he will attain a good destination. He acted very badly. He's not fit for such an end. If he's placed in the earth, he'll go to paradise. Throw him in the Ganga. Then he'll suffer for eternity." On the Qazi's word, they lifted Haridas and carried him to throw him in the Ganga. They tried to throw him in the Ganga, but he simply sat there motionless and immovable. As Haridas Thakur was wrapped in the bliss of meditation, Lord Krishna, the maintainer of the worlds, appeared in his body. Lord Krishna now made his home in Haridas' body. Who had the power to move Haridas? The strongest men in the 4 directions pushed Haridas, but he remained motionless like a great pillar. Haridas was plunged in the blissful nectar ocean of Lord Krishna. External things were not manifested to him. Haridas was not aware of anything on the ground, in the sky, or in the Ganga. Like Prahlad Maharaj, Haridas had the power to be completely wrapped in meditating on Lord Krishna with great devotion. This is not surprising, for Lord Chaitanya always stayed in Haridas' heart. As Hanuman, out of respect for the demigod Brahma, allowed himself to be bound by Rakshasas, so Haridas, to teach a great lesson to the world, allowed himself to be beaten by the Muslims. The lesson he taught was, even if one suffers all calamities, and even if one's life breath is about to depart, one should never renounce keeping the holy name of Lord Hari in one's mouth. Lord Krishna became Haridas's protector. Who had the right to harm Haridas? By remembering Haridas Thakur, a person breaks all sufferings into pieces. How much more is this true if one hears the story of Haridas Thakur? The truth of truths is that Haridas is a very, very important associate of Lord Chaitanya. For some moments, Haridas floated in the Ganga. Then, in a moment, by the Supreme Lord's will, he became again aware of the external world. Regaining consciousness, Saint Haridas happily climbed on the riverbank. Then, again and again, loudly chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna, he went to the town of Pullia. Seeing his wonderful power, all the Muslims tore apart the hatred they felt in their hearts. Aware that he was a great saint, all the Muslims bowed down before him. Because of this, they all attained salvation. At some moments of being aware of the external world, Haridas gave a merciful smile to the king. His hands respectively folded, the king humbly said, "Now I know the truth of truths. You are a great saint. You are steadfastly situated in the knowledge of the one God. You have easily attained the perfection that yogis and jnanis can only describe with their mouths. I've come here specifically to see you. O saintly one, please, forgive my crime. For you, everyone is equal. For you, there are neither enemies nor friends. No one in the three worlds is like you. You may go, be happy, stay where you wish, by the Ganga's bank, in a solitary cave. Stay wherever you wish, do whatever you wish. Gazing at Haridas Thakur's feet, the Muslims forgot all the troubles of this world. They who had angrily beaten him now touched his feet and considered him a great saint. After casting his glance of mercy on the Muslims, Haridas Thakur went to Pulia. Again and again, loudly chanting holy names of Lord Hari, Haridas entered an assembly of Brahmins. Seeing Haridas, the Brahmins of Pulia became very happy at heart. While the Brahmins chanted the holy names of Lord Hari, Haridas danced in ecstasy. Haridas manifested limitless, wonderful, ecstatic symptoms. He wept, trembled, laughed, fainted, cried out. The hairs of his body stood up on end. Tasting the nectar of pure spiritual love, Haridas fell to the ground. Seeing this, the Brahmins floated in transcendental bliss. After a few moments, Haridas became peaceful and sat down. The Brahmins also sat down, surrounding him on four sides. Haridas said, O Brahmins, please don't feel sadness for my sake. I heard limitless blasphemies of the Supreme Lord. That is why the Lord punished me. A great soul has happened, a great good has happened. I'm very happy. Giving me only a small punishment, the Lord has forgiven a great sin. By hearing blasphemy of Lord Vishnu, one goes to the hell called Kumbhipaka. With these sinful ears, I heard many blasphemies. The Lord gave me the right punishment, so that I will never again commit this sin. Very happily and without any fears, Haridas performed Sankirtan, chanting the holy names in the company of these Brahmins. After a few days, the Muslims who tormented Haridas were all destroyed along with their families. Then Haridas went to a cave by the Ganga's bank. In that solitary place, he remembered Lord Krishna day and night. He chanted the holy name 300,000 times each day. The cave became like the world of Vaikuntha. A great snake also lived in that cave. Ordinary living beings had no power to tolerate the flames of its poison. Visitors would come to speak with Haridas Thakur, but no one had the power to stay. Haridas was not aware of the very poisonous flames. Sitting together, the Brahmins discussed this problem. They asked, why are there flames in Haridas' ashram? In Pulia lived many expert physicians. Going to the cave, they could understand that a snake caused the flames. One physician said, a great snake lives in this cave. The flames are coming from it. No one has the power to live here. I say this for certain. Haridas should go at once to another ashram. It's not good to live with a snake. Everyone should approach Haridas and ask him to go to another ashram. Everyone approached Haridas Thakur and told him all this to convince him to leave the cave. They said, a great snake lives in this cave. Because of its flames, no one can stay here. Therefore, it's not good for you to stay in this place. You should go to another place and make your ashram there. Haridas replied, I've lived here for many days. I'm not aware of poisoned flames of any snake. All of you are unhappy. You have no power to stay here. Tomorrow I will leave this place. If there's a snake here, and it does not leave by tomorrow, then tomorrow I will leave and go to another place. Do not worry. Now, please sing songs about Lord Krishna. Everyone stayed and chanted the auspicious glories of Lord Krishna. At that moment, a great wonder occurred. Hearing the words, Haridas will depart, a great snake suddenly left that place. Rising from its hole, the snake entered the twilight of evening. Everyone looked at it as it went to another place. The snake was very wonderful and very frightening. White, black, and yellow, it was very beautiful. On its head, a great jewel glistened with flames of light. Seeing it, the frightened Brahmins thought, Krishna, Krishna! The snake left. Now there were no flames. The Brahmins were happy without limit. Seeing Haridas Thakur's great power, the Brahmins found that the great devotion to him had taken birth within them. Haridas Thakur was so powerful that simply by speaking a few words he makes the snake leave that place. His glance brings release from the bonds of material illusion. Lord Krishna himself does not jump over Haridas's words. Now please hear another wonderful and true story. A snakebite physician tells this story of Haridas's glories. One day, in the home of a prominent person, a snakebite physician was dancing in many different ways, accompanied by mridanga and cymbals, surrounded by many people, and singing loudly. He chanted fearsome mantras. By divine arrangement, Haridas came there and saw, on one side, the snakebite physician dancing. Then, called by the power of the mantra, Vasuki, the king of snakes, entered that person's body and made it dance in many wonderful ways. Loudly singing in Karuna Rag, the snakebite physician dramatically danced Lord Krishna's pastimes in Kaliya Lake. Hearing of his Lord's glories, Haridas at once fell unconscious. He did not breathe at all. Then, in a moment, he regained consciousness, loudly roared, and happily danced without limit. Seeing Haridas' ecstatic symptoms, the snake physician stopped dancing. He stayed by one of the walls. Haridas Thakur rolled about on the ground. He manifested wonderful ecstatic symptoms of weeping, trembling, standing up of his bodily hairs. Hearing his master's glory, saintly Haridas roared in ecstasy. Surrounding Haridas, everyone happily sang. Staying to one side, the snakebite physician, his hands folded, gazed at Haridas. After some moments, Haridas stopped his ecstatic symptoms. Then the snakebite physician returned and resumed his dance. Everyone there felt great transcendental bliss. Everyone happily anointed their limbs with the dust that had touched Haridas's feet. A cunning and deceitful Brahmin there thought in his heart, "Now I will dance. This barbarian fool dances, and all these little people become devoted to him." Covering his true intent, the Brahmin fell to the ground and pretended to be unconscious. When he fell down before him, the snakebite physician, his heart full of anger, beat him violently. The snakebite physician grabbed him by the neck and violently beat him with a stick. The man had no way to save himself. Suffering great pain from the blows of the stick, the Brahmin called out, "Father, Father," and fled. Then the snakebite physician happily returned to his dancing. Astonishment was born in everyone's heart. Folding their hands, everyone asked the snakebite physician, "Look, tell us, why did you beat the Brahmin? Why did you wait with folded hands while Haridas danced? Please tell us." Appearing in the snakebite physician's mouth, a snake who was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu then described the power and glory of Haridas. He said, "The answer to your question is a great secret. Although it should not be told, I must tell it to you. When you saw Haridas Thakur display the symptoms of ecstasy, you felt great devotion to him. Seeing this, the envious Brahmin threw himself on the ground. He broke the happiness of my dancing. What envious person has the right to do that? Thinking himself a rival of Haridas, he put on a false show, therefore I punished him. Thinking, everyone will think I'm a great saint, he pretended to be in ecstasy. This kind of cheating does not please Lord Krishna. Only a person who is honest can attain true devotion to Lord Krishna. Whoever sees Haridas dance finds that all his material bondage becomes destroyed. Lord Krishna personally dances in Haridas's dancing. By seeing his dancing, the entire universe becomes purified. Lord Krishna Chandra always stays in his heart. Therefore his name, Haridas, is appropriate. Filled with love for all living beings and eager to help them, he takes birth every time the Supreme Lord descends to this world. He never commits an offense to Lord Vishnu or to the Vaishnavas. Even in dreams, he never places his glance on the wrong path. Any soul who attains his association for even a sesame seed worth of time, will inevitably attain shelter at Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Brahma and Shiva become very happy at heart to always have Haridas association. Thinking noble birth and respectable family are all worthless attainments, he took birth on the Lord's order in a very low family. Even if he is born in a low family, a devotee of Lord Vishnu should be worshipped. This all the scriptures say. If a person born in a noble family does not worship Lord Krishna, what will he attain in that noble birth? He'll be thrown into hell. So he should be living proof of this declaration of the scriptures. Haridas took birth in a low family. Prahlad took birth as a demon. Hanuman took birth as a monkey. In the same way, Haridas took birth in a low family. The demigods yearn for Haridas's touch. The Ganga also yearns Haridas may dive within her waters. What to speak of touching him simply by seeing Haridas? Every soul cuts apart the beginningless ropes of karma. Anyone who takes shelter of Haridas finds that the bonds of repeated birth and death are cut apart. Even though 100 years he describes them with 100 mouths, Lord Anantashesh cannot find the end of Haridas's glories. You are all very fortunate, for a small part of Haridas's glories has now entered my mouth. Anyone who once speaks the name of Haridas goes to Lord Krishna's abode. That is the truth of truths. After speaking this word, the snakebite physician fell silent. Hearing his words, the pious people became happy. In this way, the serpent Vasuki, who is a great devotee of Lord Vishnu, described the glories of Haridas Thakur. Hearing these words from the serpent's mouth, everyone became very happy. They all became very affectionate and devoted to Haridas. Even though Lord Chaitanya had not yet manifested the truths of devotional service, Haridas was a devotee like that. In every direction, no one was devoted to Lord Vishnu. No one understood the truth of devotional service. No one chanted the Lord's holy names. The persons who were not devotees of Lord Vishnu would mock the devotees. The devotees would meet, play kartals, and chant the holy names of Lord Krishna. The wicked people would become very angry. They would meet and mock the devotees. They said, "These Brahmins will destroy the whole country. Because of them there will be a famine. These Brahmins beg alms only so they can eat. Their emotional chanting of the holy names is only a trick." Why do they chant so loudly, even during the 4 months of Chaturmas, when the Supreme Lord sleeps? They will break the Lord's sleep, and he'll be angry. Then he'll make a famine in the country. In this there's no room for a second opinion. Someone said, "If the price of rice goes up, I'll grab them by the neck and beat them with my fists." Someone else said, "Let them loudly chant the names of Lord Govinda in an all-night vigil on Ekadasi. But why must they chant so loudly every day?" In this way they spoke in the meeting. Hearing all this, the devotees became very unhappy. Still, they never stopped the chanting of Lord Hari's holy names. Seeing that the people had no respect for devotional service, Haridas felt very unhappy in his heart. Still, Haridas chanted loudly. He kept the glories of the Lord on his mouth. The wicked sinners could not bear to hear the loud chanting of Lord Hari's holy names. In the village of Harinadi, a wicked Brahmin, seeing Haridas, angrily said, "O Haridas, why do you do one thing only? You loudly chant the holy names. What is the reason for that?" "You should chant in your mind. That's true religion. What scripture teaches loud chanting of the holy names? From whom did you learn about this loud chanting? Here's an assembly of Pandits. Ask them about it." Haridas replied, "You must certainly know all the glories of the Lord's holy name. I only repeat what I have heard from persons like yourself. That is all I know and say. Loud chanting is 100 times more purifying. The scriptures do not find fault with it. Rather, they describe its glories. Therefore, in the scriptures it said, 'Loud chanting is 100 times better.'" The Brahmin said, "Why is loud chanting of the holy name 100 times more purifying?" Haridas replied, Please hear, O saintly one. This truth is described in the Vedas and in the Srimad Bhagavatam. All the scriptures appeared in Haridasa's mouth. Happy with the bliss of Lord Krishna, he explained the truth. He said, "Please listen, O Brahmins. If they once hear Lord Krishna's holy name, even birds, beasts, insects, and worms go to the world of Vaikuntha." In Srimad Bhagavatam, Vidyadhara prays to the Supreme Lord, "Persons who are constantly engaged in chanting your holy name attain release from all sinful reactions, and certainly persons who are fortunate enough to be personally touched by your lotus feet are freed." Animals, birds, insects, and worms have no power to speak. Still, simply by hearing Lord Hari's holy name, they also become delivered. By softly chanting Lord Krishna's name in japa, one delivers oneself, but by loud chanting in Sankirtan, one does great good to others. Therefore, the fruit brought by loud chanting in Sankirtan is 100 times greater. This all the scriptures say. In the Narada Purana, Sri Prahlad explains, loud chanting of Lord Hari's holy names is 100 times better than soft chanting. By soft chanting, one purifies only himself, but by loud chanting, one purifies all who may hear him. Therefore, loud chanting in Sankirtan is 100 times better than soft chanting in japa. This is described in the Puranas. Please hear, O Brahmin. Please give your attention and understand the reason. By softly chanting japa, one benefits only oneself. By loudly chanting Lord Govinda's names in Sankirtan, one brings liberation to all creatures that may hear him. Even though they may have tongues, the living entities who do not have human bodies have no power to speak the holy name of Lord Hari. Loud chanting thus delivers the living entities who have taken a very unfortunate birth. Please tell me then, what is wrong with loud chanting? Some persons act only for their own welfare, and some persons act for the welfare of thousands of others. Considering all this, please understand, loud Sankirtan is better than soft japa. Hearing Haridas' words, that Brahmin angrily spoke very many bad words. He said, "O Haridas, now you've become a philosopher. I can see that the passing of time, the path of the Vedas is now destroyed. At the end of Kali Yuga, the Sudras will explain the Vedas. I see this is happening at the very moment. What more is needed for Kali Yuga's end? Presenting yourself in this way, you go from home to home and eat very well indeed. If your explanations are not supported by scripture, I'll cut off your nose and your ears." Hearing this wretched Brahmin's words, Haridas gently smiled and said, "Hari." Not saying anything in reply, Haridas loudly, chanting the holy names of the Lord, walked away. That assembly of sinful Brahmins followed a sinful philosophy. They also did not give proper reply to the Brahmins' words. They were Brahmins in name only. In truth, they were Rakshasa demons. They were fit to be tortured by Yamaraj. So they may attack and harm the pious devotees. Rakshasas take birth in Brahmin families in Kali Yuga. In the Varaha Purana, Lord Shiva explains, taking shelter of Kali Yuga, the Rakshasa demons take birth in Brahmin families. Now, born among the Brahmins, they attack and harm the devotees who follow the scriptures, devotees who are not as strong as they. And the Dharma Shastras forbid one to ever touch, speak with, or offer obeisances to such Brahmins. In the Padma Purana, Lord Shiva explains, what is the need for many words? Even by accident, one should avoid touching or speaking with Brahmins who are not Vaishnavas. In the Padma Purana, it's also said, one should not even look at a Brahmin who's not a Vaishnava. Such a person is a dog-eater. On the other hand, a Vaishnava who is born outside the system of Varnas purifies the three worlds. If one converses with a non-Vaishnava Vaishnava Brahmin, one loses his piety. After some days, that degraded Brahmin contracted smallpox, and his own nose fell off. In this way, Lord Krishna punished that Brahmin for speaking harshly to Haridas. Seeing the whole world plunged in material sense pleasures, Haridas sadly sighed and said, "Krishna, Krishna." After some days, Haridas, wishing to see the Vaishnavas, came to Navadvip. Seeing Haridas, all the devotees felt very happy at heart. Lord Advaita considered Haridas more dear than life itself. And all the Vaishnavas dearly loved Haridas. Haridas was very devoted to them all. When they spoke among themselves, the materialists and offenders mocked the devotees with words that were like flames. On the other hand, the devotees would always talk about Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone who hears and repeats these narrations will personally meet Lord Chaitanya. 2 moons, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Nityananda, are my life and soul. I, Vrndavana Das, sing the glories of their feet.